Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hammer Podcast. Today is the 30th of January, 2023, and I'm speaking with Dee. Dee went to the Family Foundation School in Hancock, New York. What years did you go, Dee?
I got there the beginning of '02 and graduated December of '04.
Okay. All right. She's here to tell us her story. Go ahead and start from the beginning, Dee.
Um, so I had a pretty rough childhood. I had a really rough start. I didn't know either of my parents. My grandmother actually raised me until I was 12. And then she had passed away. So like my whole life kind of got uprooted and I moved to New York with my godparents. Um, and I would say that's probably where my behavior like drastically changed according to them.
Okay.
So I'm not going to sit here and say that I was the perfect kid because I wasn't at all. Um, as far as my grades, they were pretty good. But I was always doing dumb stuff, eating stuff I wasn't supposed to eat, staying out, past when I was supposed to be home. Things of that, like kid stuff. I
Yeah.
wasn't, I never dabbled in drugs. I didn't do alcohol. I wasn't out having sex. I was just doing dumb stuff, like
What
things I
every
know I shouldn't be doing.
what every normal kid would do.
Yeah, pretty much. But I didn't listen a lot. That was probably the biggest issue that I had as a child.
Okay.
So, but with that being said, my grandmother passed away when I was 12, and that's all that I knew. She was the one that raised me. So I got pulled out of an environment of people that I knew, the school that I was going to, the friends that I had, the neighbors who, were also there and helped raise me to, the big city. I moved back to New York. We had moved to Pennsylvania with my grandmother. So I went from the middle of nowhere to nothing but buses and trains and a whole bunch of traffic. So it was an adjustment on many parts. Uh,
Sure. Sure.
and I think that was like the biggest issue was the communication, as far as I didn't necessarily know how to express, how I was feeling, like I felt broken, but it just came out like in my behavior and like what I was doing as a kid.
That's how you expressed yourself, basically. Yeah,
Yeah.
we get it. Okay.
So,
So Pennsylvania back to New York, or
yeah.
yeah, back to New York. Okay, and then who took you to the? How did you end up in the foundation school? Were you sent there by your godparents, or
So when I had moved back to New York, when I moved to New York with my godmother, I ended up she put me in a Catholic school. And I was 12, so I was entering the seventh grade. So seventh and eighth grade, I was in Catholic school. Didn't like it, wasn't a fan of it. Uniforms. Also, having religion kind of shoved down your throat, it was a little too much for me.
yeah?
And then in ninth grade, I got expelled. Well, I got asked to leave the school that I was going to in Manhattan. And then I got transferred to another school in Far Rockaway Park. And I ended up getting 3 strikes and I got expelled from there. And then I got sent to a public school, and it wasn't the best public school. They had security, metal detectors. They did bag searches. All the windows were gated. It was pretty much my godmother's last straw. Like, look, I don't know what's going on with you, but this is your last chance. Um, and I ended up running away from home for 3 days. Ended up at somebody's house that I knew from school. And then my sister, who actually lives in Maryland, that's one of the reasons why I ended up coming down to Maryland. Um, she lives here. She came all the way up to New York with her husband and her kid to come and figure out where I was at and what was going on and stuff like that. So after they found me, they sent me to a psych ward for a week, trying to figure out, what's the next step? Like, what can we do to, get her the help that she needs.
Right.
And it was my godmother and my sister that went to the school and did the tour. And they pretty much were like, look, we can either drive you up there or you can get escorted up there. And I was like, I'd rather take the easy way.
Yeah, I've heard about the escorts. They're
Yeah.
not very friendly.
No.
So, wow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this school probably costed quite a bit though. So
Yeah.
they were shelling out some
Um,
dough.
yeah. So I found out years later after graduating and getting in touch with my financial records. When my grandmother had passed away, she left a trust fund, and those payments for that school came out of my trust fund, and it like depleted it.
Oh, I bet you
Yeah,
if you had known that before, you probably would never
I would have straightened up.
straightened up. That's what I would have done too. So all that money waiting for me. So,
Exactly.
so your godparents get you to this school,
Hmm.
and it's enrollment basically.
Yeah,
You go in there. How did it look in there? Was it kind of
it was very pristine. Like everything was really bright, and like I remember coming through the main entrance to the statue, and I was like, "Oh my God, what is going on here?" And it was just it was huge. It was just bright. And they took me into the locker room and strip you down. I had literally braided my hair maybe like a day or two before I got there. And I
okay?
had to take all my braids out, and they had to put the light shampoo in. I had to wash it. They went through all my clothes, my luggage, my books, my CDs, because you don't necessarily know what you can and can't have there
Right.
until you get there and they're like, oh, this is negative, or you can't have that, that's negative, or this is inappropriate. And I'm just like, I've been here like 10, 15 minutes. What are you talking about? I don't understand.
And then the strip search.
Yes. Yeah. That was not fun at all. Um,
It's humiliating. You know what I
It
mean?
is. It's
It is.
literally like you're being intaked in prison.
Yeah.
It really is. And
I think I was telling Nicole this, or maybe it was one of the other girls. It's like, what kid your age, 12, 14, whatever,
right,
is going to be keystering contraband in
exactly.
their
Like,
ass to go? You know what I mean? Oh, who
yeah,
does that?
right,
Unless you've been to prison before.
right. And
So it was
mind
unnecessary, basically.
right. And mind you, I didn't do any drugs. I didn't drink any alcohol. I wasn't, doing really anything illegal other than just acting out would be the best way
Sure.
to describe it.
But I think most of the time these staff members, when someone comes in, they're like, okay, this kid's probably a liar. He's probably a thief.
Yep.
They already have the pre notions already. They've already judged you before they even get to know you,
Yep.
basically.
They
So
pretend to be nice in the beginning because you're new there, and they don't want you to flip out right away. And they're just like, oh no, we're just gonna have you, with this extra person, and they're gonna show you around, and it's gonna be great. And in 18 months, you'll be gone. Yeah, no,
yeah, that didn't
no,
happen.
not at all.
So the first couple of weeks there, how was it?
Um, it was, I, it was different. I wouldn't say it was bad because I didn't really know what was going on or happening there.
Okay,
After my first couple, I would say like, being at the table, not having to stand up, with the table topics. Um, it was weird because I was just like, why is everybody being so mean? Like, why is everybody just like, you're this and you're that and you're gross and I never want to see you. When you look at me, I feel this type of like they're just attacking them. And I'm just like, oh my God, am I gonna have to get up there? Is this gonna happen to me? It's it's a lot to take in, especially, me coming in.
not knowing,
I'm in the minority.
right?
There's not a lot of us there. You could count how many of us are there.
Are you talking about African Americans? There wasn't a lot of them.
Yeah. As
Okay.
far like even African Americans or people of color, like there weren't a lot of us at all. Maybe when I was there, I would say maybe 15.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not a lot at all.
yeah, no,
No. Oh man. So the table topics, you had to get up there and say something, even if you had
yeah,
to lie or whatever. Just you had to say something.
yep. At one
Yeah.
point, I had to get up at every meal to earn my food. Yeah, I would have to get up breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I would have to either say I wanted to say was either say three things that I did that day that were good. Or they would ask me like, things that I thought I needed to work on. So obviously you gotta come up with something because you want to earn your food. Now
Right.
there's a difference. So you could either earn whatever is for lunch that day, say it was pasta or something, or you get alternative food, which is tuna on an English muffin. And if it wasn't good enough for them, I had to get the tuna on the English muffin. If they thought I did okay, then I would be able to go eat regular food.
Regular food. Yeah.
Yeah,
On an English muffin. Ugh.
yeah.
Usually it's just
I
on white bread, you know.
English muffin. To this day, I haven't had an English muffin.
I don't blame you at all.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. I mean, I've heard of, tuna on white bread or tuna on toast or whatever,
Mm-mm.
but never on an
Just
English muffin.
straight out the can.
Oh, no, no, it wasn't dressed up at all. Just
No,
raw, I mean,
straight.
cooked tuna,
Yep.
but just nothing. Okay, wow. That's boring
Yeah.
and
It's
bland.
awful.
Well, so what about punishments? Like, I mean,
Mm,
I'm sure. I mean, I've heard, and you've probably heard of it too. The blankets and the duct tape and all that
yeah.
stuff. Did that happen
Um,
to you, or were people Did that happen to them, or
People I know it happened to. I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit too passive aggressive to end up wrapped up in a blanket or carpet, but I have seen a lot of kids wrapped up and duct taped and tackled um, in the middle of, the little family rooms that we have. I've helped tackle people um, because at one point, it, and I'll say this like from my perspective, eventually I learned how to play the game. So at one point, I was one of the senior members and I was able to walk around by myself and stuff like that. So if a kid would run away, sometimes we went after them to go look for them. Or if a kid was on work sanction, there was one incident where I was on work sanction. I had gotten pulled out of school, and they had us shoveling the snow. And being in Hancock, New York, there's a lot of snow.
oh yeah,
And one of the kids tried to run away in the middle of the snow. And I mean, like, it was near our waist. It wasn't something you can just, trek into easily. And we
right.
had to tackle her in the snow. It was
Wow.
awful.
Yeah, that wasn't too smart.
No.
Usually you wait till the summer or the spring.
Yeah.
So when I talked to you by text, you said that you were there around the same time as Nicole was.
Yeah. She remembered me because I watched her, the podcast that she did with you. And I was like, man, this is really bringing up a lot of stuff that I hadn't, like, there's maybe two or three people who know that, like, part of my experience at that school. Like, people know that I went to the school and it got shut down for whatever reason.
Right.
But I can count on one hand how many people actually know what went down when I went to that school.
Okay.
And she was there when I was there. I think we were both on Exile and Invisible at the same time because she was in a different family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, and being in a different family, you could communicate with her, or you weren't allowed to.
No, we couldn't. If you did, it would be a negative contract and you would get in trouble for that. But her family was upstairs. My family was downstairs. I can't remember what family, either 5 or 6. I was in family 2. So I was on the bottom floor.
I think she said 1 or 6. I think is what
She said one or
she
six. Okay.
yeah, something like that. I still have her text, but yeah. So and she says something about that well, she called him a pedophile or a sex pervert or whatever that
Mm.
lived
Oh,
upstairs from her. So yeah, that's not yeah, family one and then family six is what she
yeah,
put.
I was family 2, and then I went to family 4.
So yeah, that's what she said. Yeah, well, it's just one of those things, like you said, you play the game.
Yeah,
Yeah, you basically just get through it, survive through it, and you know what to do, get it done. That way, you get out of there basically unscathed. Hopefully, not wrapped in a blanket or tackled or whatever. So,
yeah,
and you did basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
And but the thing that also sucks is they kind of learn how to play the game with you. So, like at one point, like I said, I was a senior member, so I was an anchor, and I could walk around the campus by myself. I could escort other students to different places. I could run a study hall, I believe. But there was one point where I was doing good. I was like, all right, I'm good. My grades are good, because if you got anything under a 75, you were failing. So as long as you were 75 and passing, you would keep progressing. They brought me up at the table and pretty much tore me down, took my anchor away, stuck me in the corner. I had no shoes. Like I went from the top all the way down to the bottom. And I was so frustrated because when this had happened, I want to say it might have been like a month or two before my 18th birthday, because I stayed after I turned 18. And the only reason why I had stayed was because they told me that my sister wouldn't talk to me if I left before I was supposed to.
Okay.
And honestly, that was like the only person at that time I had cared about that I wanted to talk to. So I was just like, this isn't fair. Like,
Did you
this
ever
really sucks.
did you ever find out why you got demoted?
No, they were just
No.
like, we don't think you're working enough on yourself, and you're being lazy, and so on and so forth. Like, it was just pretty much a tear down of, you're not doing enough, you're being complacent, and I think you need a wake up call, and your birthday's coming up, so now you have to make the decision of whether you want to stay or you want to do the right thing with your life, and so on and so forth. And I was just like at that point, I think I had stopped paying attention to what they were saying, because I was really pissed off at that point. I was just like, you can go ahead and keep on talking, but I'm not going to sit here and listen to you.
Yeah, just tune it out.
Yeah,
Yeah. You basically had your own goals on what you wanted to do.
I just knew I had to get out of there
Yeah.
the quickest way I
that
could.
that was the first goal. Okay, yeah, to get out
Yes.
of there as quick as you could.
Yep.
So, all right. Um, what about some of now every family? Correct me if I'm wrong. From what I can remember, what Nicole said, a family is 30 kids plus a staff.
Plus staff. Yep. So,
Okay,
and the
all right.
ratio is 2-to-1, boys to girls. So there was always more boys than there were girls. So a family might have between 10, 8 to 10 or 14 girls, and then the boys, there would be like 20 of them, um, or more. And they would have to like super double up. And I would probably say there was at least 15 staff per family, if not more, because you had your parents, and then you had
Mhm.
like aunts and uncles, and then you had like the nighttime staff that was there after all everybody else left for the day, to make sure everybody did their study hall, or people were doing their sanctions, or whatever the case may be.
Sounds kind of creepy. The aunts, uncles, and mom and dad thing.
Yeah,
That's-
they were just like,
you know,
we're doing this because we love you, but no,
oh
you're not.
no, no, they're not.
Let's
They're
not
not.
pretend.
But I thought the boys and girls were separated.
So
So,
dorm wise, yes, they were
okay.
separated. It also depended on your family. So some families would have the boys and girls like alternate, as far as like sitting at the table, because we're supposed to be brother and sister. Some of the families just had the girls all sit on one side and the boys all sit on the other side. And staff, trickle in between. It really depended on however your family was set up, and there were 8 different families. So 8 sets of parents.
Now, were you ever put on? I know Nicole was talking a restriction where you can't even look at boys.
Yeah, I was. I was on blackout with boys.
Blackout,
I,
yeah.
I was also on house blackout. So house blackout is when you can't talk to anybody outside of your family. And when they do house blackout, they bring you up in front of the entire house in the middle of the school and pretty much embarrass you. This is so and so. She thinks she can do whatever she wants. She thinks flirting with boys is okay. She had a negative contract with this one. They pretty much just aired out your dirty laundry. In the middle of, you got to think, what, 250 kids plus probably like 100 staff, if not more than that, just standing in the middle,
Yeah,
being embarrassed. I was brought up in for that. It was terrifying. It was awful.
yeah, yeah. Being embarrassed publicly like that, man.
I
Yeah, that.
remember.
I mean, that's humiliation. I mean, that's not part of when it comes to you know teaching these kids how to do right. Humiliation and embarrassment is not part of it.
It's not
You know,
supposed to be at all.
it just makes it worse.
Hmm.
You either make them upset, or you make them, mentally just they just go. Basically, they go into themselves. Basically, they just
Yeah,
hide. You know, it's tougher to reach them, especially when you do that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Because
Especially,
people, yeah, when you like that, you just kind of looking around at everybody and figure, okay, what's he saying about me or what's she saying, and yeah,
yeah, it causes trust issues.
yes, it does. Yes, it does.
A
big,
lot of trust issues.
big time, big time. Um, so, but the other than the tuna fish on English muffins, was the food okay or was it somewhat substandard?
Some of the food was okay. Um, Sometimes they had really terrible concoctions. They had some sort of salad that had like this peanut dressing sauce or something. It was awful. They had also another salad that had like mandarin oranges. Like I don't think I had a mandarin orange since I left the school either. There's a lot of things that aren't allowed in my house that I can't even look at them or smell them. It's awful.
Because
Um,
it takes you back to
it does. It
yeah.
really does. I would have to say the best thing was breakfast because it was the same thing. You could either have cereal, French toast, um, even though no, not the oatmeal. Mm-mm. No,
Not the oatmeal, huh?
no. They
No.
also used cream of wheat as a punishment. That was your breakfast if you were.
Oh, I
Um,
love cream of wheat.
nope, can't do it. Can't do grits either.
Oh,
Same
oh.
texture.
But you've eaten grits before.
I have. I used to love grits before that.
Butter or syrup?
I gotta go sweet. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
like it salty
Oh
because
yeah.
I already got like bacon and eggs and everything else. So
Coming
it
from that
balances it out.
coming from down south. Oh man, we used to eat grits all the time. Oh, that was great. But hey, like I said, it's those little things. Like you said, just the smell of the
Yeah.
food just takes you back. That's not a good thing. I mean,
No.
it's. I guess you could say it's kind of a trauma, PTSD, whatever they call it now.
Yeah.
So, did you when you were there, as far as you said you were part of the senior staff,
Hmm.
did you ever take part in the like the delousing or the
Yeah,
the the strip searches and all that stuff?
I did. I want to say I only did like one or two um intakes where
Yeah.
we would go in there and have them take their clothes off and yeah, do the whole lice and check through their clothes and whatever they couldn't keep, we would put it in a bag and say that we're giving it back to their parents, but it doesn't go back to the parents.
Either gets dispersed among the staff members or it gets thrown away,
Yeah.
basically.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Shady.
Yeah, that is shady. I wonder how
Super
many.
shady.
I wonder how many articles say of either clothing or just objects that these people store in their house that belong to you and Nicole and
Or
everybody
they
else.
gave it to their grandkids.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Some of the stuff probably one of a kind. That was, that's
Yeah.
just. But the good thing is they're closed now.
Yeah. I was hype. I was too excited when I found out that they had gotten shut down because I understand things take time,
Yeah,
but this was in the works for a while, and I'm really glad that at least they're shut down, and I'm hoping that other places get shut down because my son is around the age that I was when I got sent to the family school, and he's experiencing things that I never got to experience in high school, like homecoming or prom or field trips and stuff like that. Yeah, we had field trips, but they were usually for competitions or it was like we went into Hancock or we went on a shopping trip. We weren't allowed to handle any of the money. We didn't get to do anything. You guys were doing
yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah. He sure nice that he's doing that. I mean, even though you didn't do it, at least he's doing it and he's
So I make sure. I'm like, you going? Like he had it this week, this past weekend. I was like, oh, you're going to homecoming. We got the ticket. Take your girlfriend. You're gonna have a great time. So I want him to experience, the stuff I missed out. I spent my 16th birthday
in the corner.
in the corner with no shoes on. Didn't even get a piece of cake because you get a monthly cake for everybody's birthday in the family, and they cut the cake and everybody gets a piece. Didn't even get a piece of cake.
Didn't even get it. Oh my goodness! Did you ever? You said you went on work detail a couple of times.
Yeah, work sanction. I
Was that picking up rocks or was that just cutting the
some of
grass?
it some of it was picking up rocks. They had us mow the lawns, and there's a lot of land where the Family Foundation School was. So we had to mow the grass. We had to shovel if it was snowing. We had pigs at one point, so we would have to go take care of the pigs. Every family had a pig. We would have to go clean up all the poop, wash out the pen, wash down the pig, give them new food, all that type of stuff. So they
Hmm.
had us working. If we couldn't be outside, they take us in the gym, have us wipe down all the bleachers, go into a classroom, wipe that down, go into the kitchen, help with food prep. They had you doing stuff. They always had you doing something.
You know the old saying, "Idle hands are the devil's playground." That's probably why.
Probably.
Keep you busy so you don't know how miserable you are. You
Yeah,
know.
they sure did keep us busy.
Plus, it probably makes time go by a lot faster too. But then again, like prison
Mhm.
time, it's slow time, and
Yeah,
it really doesn't.
because it's like all I'm going to do is go to sleep to wake back up to where I am still at.
Yeah, yeah, that's difficult. That's difficult. Now your letters and is it, your godparents sent you letters, or did you send them
Um,
letters, or
yeah,
phone
uh,
calls, phone calls, that kind of stuff?
yeah. So in the beginning, I'm pretty sure Nicole probably said this. Can't talk to your parents for like the first month. And then I want to say it was 10-minute phone calls. Um, once a week if you weren't in trouble. Um, and then after a while, I want to say I was probably there at least a year, maybe a little bit more when I was finally able to talk to my sister and get letters from my sister. And then my phone calls were alternate weeks. So I would talk to my godparents and would talk to my sister and back and forth. Um, I don't know if they ever sent me stuff because I never got stuff. Um, all I got was letters. So if they sent packages, I didn't get them.
Right.
Um,
Was it
and yeah, I mean, I heard more from my godmother. I mean, my godfather, he's great. He's just not a people person. He doesn't do a lot of talking. She was a decision maker, so she's the one that was doing most of the work. And they came up to visit. I never got any home visits. They did not want me coming back to New York, like at all. When I graduated high school, um, I want to say the ceremony started like 10 o'clock in the morning. By 10 o'clock that night, I was in Maryland. Like, they did not want me coming back to New York. I had all my stuff and I was here in a matter of 12 hours.
Do you think that was a good choice?
Um, it wasn't like I had anything waiting for me in New York. I think it was more the fact that they were concerned about how much freedom is in New York because, you know, you got the bus system, the train system runs 24 hours. You can go pretty much anywhere or do anything. But here in Maryland, like when I first came down here in '04, like the bus system was trash. Like the buses stopped running at like 11. So if you were anywhere outside at 11 and you weren't close to home, like you were walking
Yeah.
or taking a taxi or something. So.
Well, maybe they figured that if you went back to New York, it would probably go right back into your so-called old ways.
Yeah.
You know, but maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe the place, what's that, what they call scared straight type of thing, you know? But I think a lot of people left there angrier than they went in. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You
Yeah.
know, a lot of resentment, a lot of hatred towards the staff.
Yeah.
So,
Especially the ones who really contributed. I get that people, I get that some people were working there and they may not have been like super aligned with the values or like what the school was trying to do or wanted to do or the way they were carrying stuff out. But I just feel like there was something else she could have done instead of being here doing what was being done to us. There was this one staff member, his name was Ruben. He didn't last very long because he wasn't with what was going on in the school. And he kept it real with you. Like if you was being like if you were dumb or you weren't listening or he was really just trying to help you out, then he would probably get on your case. But he wasn't picking on anyone. He wasn't making people feel uncomfortable. He wasn't tearing people down. Like if you were wrong, you were wrong. But if you needed help or, you know, he's trying to point you in the right direction, he was trying to do that too. He was one of the only staff members I could probably say that I've really respected like that because he didn't let them, you know, just be like, well, you need to do it like this. He was just like, nah, that's not going to work for me. And a couple weeks later, he was gone. He never came back. And
well,
I was like, man,
I guess they didn't like that.
no,
Oh, this
they
guy's
didn't.
being too nice to the kids. Let's get him out of there.
He's like, they're all liars. Don't listen to them.
Right? They're going to manipulate you, you know.
For real.
So, one thing I wanted to ask you, being a person of color, did you ever experience any type of favoritism, like towards the other students, or any type of racism or anything like that?
I wouldn't say it was like overtly. It wasn't like right in your face. But in some cases you could definitely tell like,
There's a hint of it, maybe.
yeah, yeah. Like they didn't really want to be bothered. Instead of like giving you the same amount of attention as the person who came before you, you know, that you deserve, they would just be like, okay, whatever, just here, do this, get out my face. It just felt like I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like we got the short end of the stick sometimes. And I'm not saying it was all the time, but occasionally I just feel like when they were at their wits' end, it just came out more.
Yeah. Yeah, you could tell they had it on the tip of their tongue, and they're just like,
I'm just like, you lucky I can't say it. No, you lucky I can't do what I want to do.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, just gotta grin and bear it, and just because That's their job on the line right there.
Mm.
So, but it basically happens in every school. The school I went to in South Texas, and we probably haven't, but I got someone on the podcast with Lester Roloff, but Roloff was an extreme racist.
Mm.
Being into South Texas, you had a lot of Mexican people.
Yeah.
And he would call them, instead of calling them, either Mexicans or Hispanics, he would call them lubricanos. Now we all know that's not something that you would say to a Mexican. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that's what he called them. And of course, he would have. There were some African Americans there, not a
Hmm.
lot, like it was at the school, and he would come in his airplane with watermelon, and it's like, dude, how racist can you be? You know what I mean? It's not. It's not like you're not hiding it very well.
Yeah.
He'd slice it open and give it to him. Here you go, guys. Here you go. It's like, but this was the 70s and the early 80s. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
really wasn't a lot of people yelling it out. I mean,
Yeah.
now they do, but this is the kind of person that people emulate. Especially, I don't know. Nicole was saying something about Hancock. There was all religions. There was Jewish. There was Catholic. There was
Yeah. Every
but
day was a different service.
right. But this was independent fundamental Baptists. These are the Southern Baptists, basically,
Hmm.
which they just bleed racism. You know what I mean? So, but this guy, Ruster Roloff, was incredibly racist, but to this day, he died in 82
Hmm.
in a plane crash.
Mm.
But there's still schools that emulate his teaching. They have
Right.
pictures of him, and they have dorms named after him. So, I don't know where I'm getting at with this, but it just seems like a lot of people are just emulating the wrong people.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not exactly sure as far as Family Foundation. I'm not too keen on the history of it. Maybe I should
Mhm.
look into it, but the person that started or the family that started it, I don't know if they were on the up and up. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I don't even know that much.
yes, you were there and did your time and basically left. Yeah.
Yeah, but like
So
once I figured it out, I was like, it's just you have to learn how to give just enough without them questioning whether you're actually doing the work. And at first when you leave the school, and I'll say this, when I first left the school, I was like, oh yeah, I graduated, like things are great now. I'm hunky dory and stuff like that. And it took a few years for me to really figure out how to do things. I told I've told this to a couple different people. The first time that somebody hit on me after I graduated, I hyperventilated. I did not know how to respond. I did not know how to approach. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, because being in that environment for almost 3 years, and they tell you to treat each other like brother and sister, and you go out into the real world and somebody hits on you, what am I supposed to do with that? I
yeah,
don't know.
it is kind of awkward. You
Yeah,
know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It institutionalized. To
yeah,
basically, uh, whatever was taught in there is what you know.
yeah.
I'm sure they didn't teach you the 5 steps in dating. You know
No.
what I mean? When a man approaches you, this is what he says. This is how you respond. No, they don't say that. You know what I mean? So, and like I said, you were put on blackout for boys, so
Yeah,
that didn't help at all either.
no. And no eye contact. So when I would talk to them, I had to look at the ground. I
Oh,
couldn't look them in their eyes.
you can still talk to him? You
No,
just
I'm just saying, like, if
oh
so, if you're on blackout with boys, sometimes there's going to be situations where that's all you can do, whether it's the person that's running study hall in there, whether it's, somebody is in your way and you're just trying to get through, you say, excuse me. Like, if they talk to you, then you would just be like, I'm on blackout. I can't talk to you. But, obviously, like courtesy, you'll be like, excuse me, you still have to look at the ground.
Yeah.
Or if you go to a teacher for help and it's a guy, you have to look at the ground.
I was just about to ask, even if it's one of the staff members there,
Yeah.
you got to look on the ground. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like just a sign of submission. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Head down, talking to them. But the thing is, I guess the whole point is basically the mindset, I would say, is don't let them break you. So, some kids, I guess some kids did get broken. I mean,
Yeah.
but some stayed strong.
Some of us
Maybe,
had to.
yeah, yeah. It's just basically, I'm just not going to let this break me.
I'll be damned. That's how I put it. And failure is not an option.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to
Yeah.
get through this, and I'm going to be fine.
Yep.
So, but with that said, even though you were strong and got out of it okay, there's still those little things, like you said before, the smell of mandarin oranges or tangerines or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It triggers you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's still those little things, but they can be helped. I mean, I not coming from any type of trauma myself, I'm not exactly sure, how long it would take or if it ever ends at all. I don't know. Has it subsided with you? I mean, as far as
it depends on some stuff. I mean, it's funny because there's even some things that I still do that I did in high school. So we were only allowed to take 4-minute showers. I still take 4-minute showers. Unless I'm washing my hair or something, but I'm in the shower, I wash, I'm out the shower. We always had to go to the bathroom with someone or leave the door open. In the dorm, we had to leave the door open. I still leave the door open in the bathroom.
Wow.
I don't, like I said, there's certain foods in my house that I can't have or I can't see them. My kids love creamy peanut butter. I can't do creamy peanut butter.
I'm sorry. Creamy peanut butter is awesome.
I love peanut butter. I do, but creamy,
Yeah.
it triggers like a reflex. And then there was a situation. Oh my gosh, it was New Year's Day, 2021, and I was driving my car. I went to go put something. I got in a hotel room. I went to go put something in the trash, and some lady came running out of the hotel building and started screaming at me. And I was like, why are you screaming at me? She's just like, you can't drive that way. Da, 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 da. And I'm just like, okay, I'm sorry. Where is the sign? Because I didn't see any signs. Just show them to me so I can be aware. She was just like, and there was no sign for her to point out. So she was yelling at me. And that brought me back to standing up at the end of the table and being berated and yelled at. And I almost ran that lady over with my car. Like, it was bad.
Yeah.
I was just like, ma'am, if you don't get away from me, this is going to end really bad. I promise you. And then I got my car and I went and I parked it, and I went up to my room and tried to gather myself, and I couldn't. So then I left and I went to the mall and I got 4 piercings done. And that's how I got through that little incident. And when I came back from the mall, she apologized. But I'm still in that moment. I'm still triggered. I can't interact with you. I can't have this conversation with you right now. I can't do it. And I just went straight back up to my room.
I think she finally realized there was no signs there.
It was rough.
Yeah, she found out she made an ass of herself.
Yeah. I appreciated the apology. It took a lot in me for for me not to say something to somebody higher up, because I get where she was coming from, but the manner that she came at me was unprofessional and inappropriate.
Yeah. Oh, so she
But I was
worked there.
like,
She worked there at the hotel.
yeah, she did. She worked at the
Oh,
front desk.
okay.
So,
Oh, well, I guess you're not going to that hotel anymore.
no, not at all.
So, how's your life been afterwards? I mean, as far as uh, I know the stuff, some stuff triggers you, but have you been getting along pretty good?
Yeah. I've had my fair share of lost relationships where I
Who
was
who,
looking
who
for the
hasn't?
wrong thing in the wrong place. But I'm good. Like, I still have my moments, I still have my issues, but I would say probably once I hit my late 20s, like 28 and now into my 30s, I've really realized like how much of an effect that school really did have. Because when I first left, I was just like, just push it down, just push it down. Don't worry about it. It didn't happen. We gonna operate through life like a regular normal person. And I had to come, to grips with that, you know. What happened to me at that school, before and after was not normal. It's not what's supposed to happen to a kid. And that's one of the things that I pride myself on with my kids, making sure that they're good. And if they have any issues, let's address it. If you want to talk about anything, you have a safe space. You can
Right,
always come to me. If you don't want to come to me, let's find somebody else who can help you. Like I try to give them all the options that I didn't have as a kid,
right.
or that didn't work for me as a kid. It might work differently for them.
Yeah.
So,
Don't go through the same things you went through.
hmm,
Yeah. Don't hide it
not at
inside.
all.
Let it build up. Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't want that. No, no, because that doesn't end well at
no,
all.
not at all.
No. So did you? Some people do, but did you ever see like a therapist or anything like that to help you, or a counselor or somebody like that? Or
I've been in therapy on and off.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I actually especially I recently had a baby. She'll be 7 months, the February 1st. So after I had her, I had started getting back into therapy because, hormones change a lot with pregnancy. And
Yeah.
uh, years back in like 14, I was diagnosed with depression, and I have anxiety problems and PTSD from the school. So it's like a whole myriad of issues. But like I know when I'm not feeling myself. I know when things are really starting to build up or they're starting to bother me. And I know that's when it's time for me to, okay, look, I need to make an appointment. I need to go talk to
Right.
somebody because I don't want it to break down.
Right. You don't want it to get any worse. So you
Exactly.
basically have a plan, basically. And when this happens, this is what I do. Other than that, I'm usually just breezing by pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is a baby girl, baby boy?
Baby girl.
Oh, baby girl.
Yeah.
Nice. I have a
She's the
girl.
youngest.
I have a girl myself. She's
Oh,
24.
oh wow. That's
they're
my
already
niece's age.
they're already out of the house. But I have a
Hmm.
girl and a boy, 24 and 25. Actually,
Oh,
my son just turned 26.
okay.
So, yeah, out of the house. So, but yeah, you're at that point, especially with kids.
Yeah.
You want to protect them. You want to make sure they have everything they need,
Yep.
everything they want. Not all the time, because
Not all the
sometimes
time.
sometimes
When they earn it, when they deserve it.
when they deserve it, when they earn it. Yes, yes,
That's one thing I do with my kids a lot is I always reassure them, like, even if I always praise them for what they do, and if they do something wrong, we sit down and we talk about it. Because I was raised old school. There wasn't talking. There was
right,
just go grab it. You know, you know what's about to happen. But I want my kids to understand that I would rather you come to me and talk to me about it if it's an issue versus me having to find out about it.
No secrets.
Mm-mm.
That's what I told my kids too. No secrets. If you say something and I'm going to get upset, tell me,
Right.
because I may be a little upset then, but I'm going to be even more upset if I have to find out from somebody else.
Exactly.
So it's better to just deal with it now and fix it than to wait and let it build up, and before you know it, it just blows up
Explodes.
into this situation that it might be hard to handle.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree.
definitely. Yeah. So and that's the way it is. Like I said, being at the school too. I mean, you know, but I think that they went through it the wrong way. You know, like you said, the humiliation and the embarrassment and the belittling. You know, that's not how you. I mean, they're basically your guardians because you were there.
Yeah.
That's not how you raise a kid. You
No,
know,
it's not.
you don't berate them. You don't tell them they're nothing or they're stupid or they're worthless. You don't do that to them. You know. Now there are times, I must say, when they need discipline. I'm sure you know that as well.
Yes.
You know, but you do it a certain way. You know, so but you know what's done is done. We go forward. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Go forward. You got your life ahead of you. You got your kids. It's a beautiful thing.
I agree.
So you got anything else, D, or do you want to basically just
I
end
think
it?
that's about it.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes left, so we can go ahead if you want to. But I want to thank you for coming on. I'm glad.
Thank you for having me. I
I'm glad you're
appreciate
in.
it.
Yeah, and like you said, you saw Nicole's
Hmm.
podcast. So is that what got you to say, "Hey, I want to be on it too"? Basically, just talk
Yeah.
about it.
Seeing her and the other people who have done it. I also saw the one recently with, what is it, Jen and D.
Hmm.
I saw
Yeah,
that one too. And that was a really interesting perspective that they were coming from.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I had a few people message me about that one. I said, "Look, it's an alternative viewpoint. They're
yeah,
not
it
they're
is.
not saying that the way they're dealing with it is the way everybody else should deal with it.
Right.
They're saying they dealt with it this way. Other people deal with it differently. Some people are stronger, some people are weaker. You know,
Hmm.
that's just the way it is,
Yeah.
and it doesn't diminish anybody else's uh, time there or what they went through. It doesn't do that. It's just telling you, hey, this is the way I did it, and that's that. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
But you get some people they get butt hurt, and they're just what?
Yeah.
Hey,
Everybody had a different experience. Some people it
exactly.
worked for them, some people it didn't. Some of us, like she said in the video, where she was just like, some people were really traumatized and some people are milking it. And I was just one of those people was just like, yeah, what happened at the school was messed up. But at the end of the day, like, I still have to continue and do what I need to do.
Sure. And
So
Nicole was saying in her podcast that she saw a guy jump off
I
the.
saw it too.
I mean, I've never seen that, and that would probably traumatize me. I mean, I can
Yeah,
just imagine how you all were. I mean, that's really traumatizing to see.
it is. It,
You
it
know,
was a lot. And the fact that she saw like him in front of her is even worse. Like,
yeah. Did you
cause
know him? Did you know him too?
yeah, he was,
Okay.
I believe he was in Family 7 and jumped off the balcony. And it wasn't like it was a short fall. Like, I saw, I didn't see him like hit the ground, but I saw him come past the window. And everybody was just like, oh my God, what happened? What was that? And they like ushered us back into the family rooms.
Yeah. Wow.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that's devastating. I can just imagine the parents of that kid.
And oof.
Oh,
I always felt bad for his family because
I
they were
mean,
trying to help, and he was trying to get the help that he needed, and nobody listened.
yeah. You're supposed to die before your kids. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
they're supposed to
So
bury you.
I got to tell my wife, it's like, I don't know if I'd be able to take it. If I found out one of my kids died, I, they'd probably have to put me in a psych institute
Mm,
because I just mentally, I probably would not be able to handle it.
it's devastating,
Yeah. You love your kids.
especially at that age.
Yeah.
Like he had his whole life ahead of him.
I mean, even as adults, like I said, my kid's oldest is 26. Something happened to him, it would still
Right.
devastate me.
Yeah.
If I was 90 and he was 70, it'd still devastate me.
Right.
You never get over it.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, they're your babies. They're still your babies.
I tell my kids that all the time. I'm like, you may be taller than me, but you'll always be my big old baby.
That's right. That's right. Well, Dee, thank you for coming on. It was a pleasure. It
Of
was a
course. Thank
pleasure.
you.
Yes. I'm going to end the show.
Okay.
Stay on the line, okay? Don't hang up yet, okay?
Okay.
I want to thank everybody for watching. If you've been to the Family Foundation School and you want to come on the podcast, the number is texting below right here, or you can just email me, and we'll schedule a time for you to come on. Right now, I got three things going on at once, so we'll get you in soon. So for the Hammer Podcast, I'm Jason. You take care of yourself. You take care of each other, and we'll see you in the next podcast. All right.